Eldoret is a city in the Rift Valley region of Kenya. It serves as the capital of Uasin Gishu County. Located in western Kenya and lying south of the Cherangani Hills, the local elevation varies from about 2,100 meters, 6,900 feet, at the airport to more than 2,700 meters, 8,900 feet, in nearby areas. As per the 2019 population census, Eldoret has a population of 475,716 people and is the fifth most populated urban area in the country after Nairobi, Mombasa, Nakuru, and Ruiru. A long-standing municipality, Eldoret was conferred city status on 15 August 2024, making it the fifth city of Kenya. The city is a significant urban area in Kenya. It is the second largest medical destination in Kenya after Nairobi, and it hosts the largest university student population outside of the nation's capital. Its international airport is ranked as the second busiest cargo airport after JKIA in Nairobi 7, and it also has the second largest coverage by financial institutions outside of the capital, with over 40 branches in town. 6. The city also hosts a substantial manufacturing sector. The city was referred to as Farm 64 during the colonial period and is still colloquially referred to by locals as Sisibo. The name Eldoret is based on the Maasai word Eldore, meaning stony river, a reference to the bed of the Sosiani River, a tributary of the Nile, that runs through the town. Eldoret and the plateau around it had been occupied by the Sirikwa for several centuries prior to the era of Maasai ascendancy. Innovation in weaponry was introduced by the Maasai era of the late 18th and 19th centuries. With new weapons and forms of governance, they swept down from their original homelands in the north, closer to Lake Turkana, down to their present homelands south of Kenya. The Maasai clan that took over the plateau were known as the Uasin Gishu, after whom it is presently named. In August 1908, 58 families of displaced Afrikaners left Nakuru for the Uasin Gishu Plateau after a journey from South Africa by sea and by rail from Mombasa. Led by John van Rensburg, they traveled using wagons that would often get stuck in mud, finally arriving at Sergoi Hill on 22nd October of that year. Jan Ernest Kruger would later own the 2,000 hectares, 5,000 acres, Sergoi Farm, now owned by Sergoi Golf and Wildlife Resort. The land had earlier been surveyed by a certain Van Breda, and the new arrivals took up leaseholds of between 320 and 2,020 hectares, 805,000 acres, on condition that they would develop it within 5 years. Each family built a shack, put up fences, inspanned oxen to simple plows, and turned the first furrows. They sowed wheat, maize, and vegetables. These actions laid the foundation for the transformation of the plateau into a prosperous agricultural region. The farms were later officially registered, and each was given a number. 11. Eldoret was established in the midst of the farms they created on what was known to the settlers as Farm 64, 64, or Sisibo to the locals, because at that time it was 103 kilometers from the newly built Uganda Railway railhead at Londiani. 12. Willie Van Aert owned the farm. The central lounge in Eldoret is all that remains of Willie's farm. The official town site started in 1910 with the development of a post office at Sisibo. This was followed shortly after by the arrival of 60 more Afrikaner families in 1911. 13. The governor decided to establish an administrative center in the area in 1912, and thus the post office was renamed from 64 to a new official town name, Eldoret. Becoming an administrative center caused an enormous increase in trade within the prospective city. A bank and several shops were built. The Uganda Railway extension, from Londiani towards Uganda, reached Eldoret in 1924, starting a new era of prosperity and growth. In 1928, a piped water supply from the Sociani River was installed, and in 1933, an electricity generator plant was installed by the East African Power and Lighting Company. By that time, Eldoret had a small airport, and low-cost rental housing had been constructed. 13. In the 1950s, the town was literally divided into two along the main street, now Uganda Road, with the Afrikaners on the north and the British on the south. The former took their children to Highland School, now Moy Girls High School, 14, and the latter to Hill School. 15, recreation was also along the divide. Brits used the Lincoln Hotel and the race course near the now Chinese area, while the Afrikaners converged at the wagon wheel for recreation. Daniel Arap Moi was born in the neighboring Baringo district, and under his presidency, the town was developed further. The country's second institution of higher learning, Moi University, was established by the government in 1984, and the third international airport was subsequently constructed, significantly boosting the fortunes of the town.